This Homebrew Wednesday is brought to you by me. Oh, hey, how you doing? Happy Homebrew Wednesday. This brings back a lot of memories, actually, for me. Drinking beer out of a jar. I used to drink it out of a jar all the time way back when I was brewing, back when I lived in an apartment. We didn't really have any, I didn't really have any beer glasses, really, and the glasses that we had in the apartment were big enough, so I grabbed a jar. I don't know where I got it from. This isn't it. Unfortunately, I don't know where that jar went. I wish I still had it, but it's probably broken or something. It's gone. But I remember sitting out on the balcony in the middle of summer and just sitting out with my jar of beer and just drinking a beer out there, watching all the traffic and stuff. Yep. Fond memories, those. So I saw this jar in the kitchen earlier, and it had sugar in it, so I just dumped out the sugar and stole the jar. There you go. We'll see what happens. This week, I'm kind of disappointed. I was going to be brewing tonight, and I was going to film some of it for you, just like I did last week. And I didn't. I ran out of time. Oh man. So, but we'll talk about the brew, and I will film some of it, and I'll show it next week. Now, the one I did last week, I was hoping to have it ready this week, but yeah, you know, you're pushing it. You're talking. That was on Thursday. I filmed that video, or it was a Wednesday night, and there. I got to turn that off. It's my furnace coming on. Just a sec. Okay, where was I? Yeah, I mean, it's Tuesday night right now for me. That's 6 days. I can't keg it. It might even be done. I looked at the airlock yesterday and it wasn't really doing much. But what I do is I press down on the lid and make the airlock even, and then I wait and see if it displaces, you know, after a few minutes. And if it does, then I'm not gonna keg it or bottle it or anything like that. So sorry, I'm just drinking a Cooper's English Bitter tonight. That beer will be, when it is ready, when it gets kegged, probably in a couple of days, I will definitely tell you how it turned out. So that's next week's Homebrew Wednesday, already half filmed, just over that with that and the one I'm about to do tomorrow. I got all my ingredients together and I kind of weighed everything out, and I went online, checked out what hops I was going to use, and excuse me. And by the time I got everything all ready, I looked at the clock and I thought, I can't start this right now, because you know it's a mini mash. Let me tell you what's in it. I got it on my iPad here because I don't hope that thing turned on. I used Brewer's Friend, actually, the little application on there, the app on there that lets you work out your recipes. The one on the PC, not the iPad, but yeah, it's pretty good. If you can't afford to buy Beersmith, and it's nice to have a couple of different ways of doing things. Beersmith is a big program. Like there's a lot. I think there may even be a little bit of a learning curve. You got to really have a handle on it, and you got to put in all of your equipment and all this kind of stuff. It takes a while to get it honed into your brewing, but I think once you do, you're spot on, you know, because it knows what you've got, what equipment and everything, and how your stuff works. But I just thought I would try the Brewer's Friend so that I could tell people, yeah, you know, it's good. Give it a whirl. Anyway, we've got 6 pounds of Munich liquid malt extract. Okay, we've got 2.2 pounds of Maris Otter grains. So that's the mash. I'm going to do a mini mash. Okay. And we've got 0.65 pounds of American caramel crystal 60. That's what it says here. I've got it in pounds. I should have it in kilograms, but I forgot to change it. The nice thing about this program is you can change it from pounds to kilograms just like that, and everything changes. So if you got like an ounce of hops and you don't know what that is in grams, then you just put it to ounces, put that 1 ounce in, and then put it back to grams, and it'll be 30 grams or whatever, 28 grams, whatever it is. So anyway, hops, I don't know yet, but and I'm going to add some corn sugar as well, okay, to bring up the alcohol a little bit. So this is going to be it's going to be over about 6-point-something% alcohol. That's kind of what I wanted. Now the hops, I don't know yet. I've got some hops in the freezer that are new generation hops that I think I'm going to try, but I haven't decided yet. So when I do the brew, I'll obviously decide which hops I'm going to use, and you know, you'll see it. Okay, so it's a mini mash beer. Now that's why I looked at the clock and I said, okay, I can't do this, because you know, when you're doing, okay, if you've done all grain before, you know that takes a while. But even if you're doing a mini mash, you still have to get your mash water up to temperature, which doesn't take quite as long as a all grain setup, because you're not using as much water. But I'm going to be heating up about a gallon of water here, so that's not a lot. And get it up to about 163 or something like that, and then dough in my grains. And so there's half an hour there, right? Getting that all set up and ready. And then your grains, you put them in, you've got to mash for an hour, mini mash. So that's an hour. And then you've got to sparge the grains, which I'll probably have a second pot of water, which I'll take the grains out and put them in the second pot. I'm doing a brew in the bag, right? Put them in pot number 2, let them soak for a while, take them out, throw them. Don't throw them out. Make your dog biscuits. Oh yeah, those things are awesome. Oh my, the dog loves them. We've got pet rats. They go nuts over these things. Hang on a sec. Okay, I got one. You've seen these a few weeks ago when I was making them. What's in these? Let's review what's in them. Okay, spent grains, peanut butter, flour, and egg. Now which one of those ingredients makes this a dog biscuit? Okay, I make them for the dog, and my wife feeds them to the rats. But there's nothing about this that actually makes it a dog biscuit. There's nothing about this that you can't eat it just because I made it for the dog. And they're delicious. So the hell with the dog. Hey, barley biscuits and beer. There's a food pairing for you. The dog's looking at me like, excuse me? That was mine. Anyway, we don't normally eat them. You should probably serve those at your next party, and nobody would have a clue that you made them for your dog. But no, they're good, and the dog loves them. So anyway, I gave her one too, just off camera, so don't worry. What else? Oh, I got a question. This is like not a active Homebrew Wednesday video. This is me sitting here. Next week there'll be more stuff, variety, going on. Can't do it every week. I gotta, sometimes I gotta just do simple ones. Somebody asked on last week's Homebrew Wednesday about crushing the grains if you don't have a grain crusher. Okay, I've experienced this, so I can tell you from firsthand experience. You're not going to want to do all grain, a whole 5-gallon all grain batch. I've done it with a rolling pin. Okay, let's, you can take get a big can of tomato juice or something, or I ended up getting one of my CO2 tanks once, my heavy CO2 tank, and using it to roll over. You put them in a Ziploc bag, get a big Ziploc bag or a big bag of some sort, and you flatten them out on the floor or whatever, and you just roll something over them and crush them. Now, it's a poor man's way of doing it. You've got to do small batches at a time. You can't do a lot. You can't take a big thing of, obviously you've got to have like 1 or 2 layers of grains, and you're rolling them. You can't have too thick of a thing there, or else it won't work. And you kind of want to be able to check to make sure that all the grains are, at least the husks are cracked. You don't want a lot of whole grains or any whole grains in there. Ideally, you don't want that. Listen, I would if you're going to just crush some specialty grains like some crystal malt or some biscuit or some whatever, this not 2-row, not the ones you're going to mash, just the grains that are going to add the flavor. You're going to steep them for 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah, you can get away with a rolling pin or whatever. It's a pain in the neck, but you can do it, and you're not risking if you're doing a mash, you kind of have to have a good grist. Otherwise, you're not going to get good sugar conversion. Okay, so that's my experience. That's my opinion. But if you're just adding 500 grams or a pound or whatever of specialty grains in there, there's nothing saying you can't crush those by hand and get them all broken up and stick them in a bag, and there you go. So there's the answer to that question. But if you're going to be doing a mash of any sort, get yourself some sort of a thing, a crusher. A lot of people have those ones with the big hoppers on them, and the piece of wood. You put it on top of a brew bucket and you get a drill and and all that. They're $150 or more. I mean, they're not cheap. Okay. Now I have the one that you've seen me have, the Corona style one with the big crank, and I've done all grain with that. Absolutely. Takes about 20 minutes to grind all the grains up. And you just sit there with a beer and you do it. It's not the ideal way of doing it, but you get a good grist, all right, and you get good results. There's a little adjustment on there that you can turn it and make adjust the amount of, like the grind, I guess, if you want to call it that, how finely they're ground. Yeah, fairly high number of drunken days on the balcony back then. For sure. Yeah, so anyway, I've been playing the drums since I was 8 years old, and I took drum lessons for a year, and then I quit and I just did it on my own. I joined a band when I was about 13 or 14, and we played schools and stuff, and a couple different venues, and then I stopped playing the drums when I was about, I think probably about 18. I sold my drums, and I bought a drum machine, because by that time I was recording songs, and I needed a way to be able to record drums. And in a studio, when you record drums, you need a lot of mics, which I didn't have. So I got rid of the drums and I got a drum machine. And that's how I recorded most of my music over the years. But I got a set of drums a few years ago. Probably, what was that? I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, maybe, or no, yeah, something like that. And started playing again. But those drums are now stacked over there. The ones you saw in this video are my friend's drums. And that drum kit is a Neil Peart replica from his older days in Rush, you know. And I still have it. It's not set up because I haven't got room right now, but I plan on setting it up again, at least part of it, and getting back on them again. So yes, I've been a drummer for most of my life, but I haven't been playing the drums all the whole time. If I had done that, I probably would have been a master at it, because I, you know, all those years playing, you know. But I, you know, anyway, it's a fun thing. I never planned on making a career out of it. And it's just a cool thing to do, and it's good exercise. All right, well, listen, guys, this has been cool to sit here and talk at you for a few minutes. I don't really have anything else. Stay tuned for next week's Homebrew Wednesday video. There will be actual brewing going on and stuff. And we'll also be tasting that that DeFalco, is that the name? Beer kit that I got brewing over there. That's just about ready to go into a keg. Okay, and it's a good damn thing because this keg's almost empty. So that's that. So thank you a lot for watching, and we'll probably do another live Homebrew Wednesday soon, because that worked out very well. It was very well received by you guys. Okay, so that's you know, that's a good thing. To sit here for an hour and a half and you know, interact with you guys is a lot of fun, and it also saves me, you know, from editing. I don't have to edit it; it's already done. In the meantime, I'm going back to my jar. But cheers. Don't throw those grains away. If you have a dog or a pet or something, I don't know, or a neighbor with a dog or anybody, make the cookies, make the biscuits. They're great. They actually taste good enough to eat yourself. Now I want all you guys to make your dog biscuits, and I want you to eat one on camera on your Homebrew Wednesday video. That's my mission for you. Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.